Carrie Brown, new chairman of the Football Writers Association. What does it mean to you?
Ultimately, the proudest day of my football writing career. I was so honoured when 10, maybe 15 years ago, I haven't gone back to check, I was asked if I would be a member of the FWA, because as a broadcaster, I asked, did I meet that criteria? And I was really surprised that that question was given quite short shrift. I was told, of course, you write your reports, you research your interviews, and those interviews, those reports can often themselves generate headlines, not just in the UK, sometimes around the world. And it was an honour simply to become a member. But I am very passionate that in this age of saturated media, that people value quality journalism. I've been very lucky with my job as a sports correspondent to travel the world and cover football on every continent. It means nothing if I say I value English football writing, but the high regard English football writing is held in around the world, is what makes me so passionate about wanting people to understand, promote, and for the FWA to signpost both fans and emerging football writers to the quality journalism on offer day in, day out.
So you're following in the esteemed footsteps of Paddy Barclay, our former chairman, who's now stood down. Just explain perhaps some of the good work Paddy's done in the past 3 years.
Well, Paddy Barclay and the executive committee really have championed and accelerated diversity in the FWA, particularly on the executive committee, but also with our many media events. And that is something at the forefront of my work and what I want to take fruit. I want to make it very clear that many of the decisions that were made in the last 3 years took courage, bravery, and some difficult decisions were made. And actually a number of the members of the committee did step aside for renewal. And I want to say to those members that you are cherished greatly, and we will be calling on you for your involvement. Today, Paddy Barclay has stepped down from the committee as chairman and has left the committee because in his belief he wants to see renewal and see new members come through. I reiterate that, Paddy, we will still want you to be very much involved in the future of the FWA. Mike Collett also stepping down, who's done great work with us both on the book committee, but particularly he tracked down the first chairman of the FWA over the first 6 years of the FWA, and he found a phenomenal archive going all the way back to the founding of the FWA, and that is now in the National Football Museum. And we are so proud and take such pride that we have that memory and that historic archive of the FWA, and we're forever grateful to Mike for that. While we've seen great renewal, we've also suffered great sadness, and we have lost two leading figures on our national committee in Ralph Ellis and Vicky Orvis, and we will continue to pay tribute to them both throughout the next season. Of course, Vicky Orvis was a great role model for me. She was our vice chairman, and of course we know that she would have been next in line to be the chairman of the FWA. I certainly can't fill her shoes. She was a magnificent woman, and I would never aspire to do so, but I do hope that I can at least make her proud. With the sad departure of those two key figures from our committee, we now see a new dawn and a new era. And we welcome in Alison Rudd from The Times, who has been an extraordinary leader for women in the written press. And we also welcome broadcasters Kelly Cates and Joel Bayer, who both offer us great, exciting opportunity for broadcasting on our website and going forward to the future. It has been an incredibly challenging year for the FWA, both bringing about change and losing great figures throughout the sport. But we hope we have a bright future ahead of us.
Over the course of Paddy Barclay's chairmanship, there was a huge growth in membership, student membership, there was mentoring and increasing diversity. What would you like to bring in now going forward?
It's vitally important for me that we continue the momentum that Paddy Barclay started in bringing diversity through the committee and the Football Writers Association. I also want to celebrate football writing and signpost our audience to the best in football writing, whether that be broadcast, interviews, investigative journalism, and we've changed so much of that already on our websites and our social media channels, and that will only accelerate in the coming years. And I'd like to thank Jerry Cox and his team for all his work with that as well. It's been hugely significant and really has been impressive. We have some exciting times ahead of us, but I also want to address the change in the industry. I remember when I started in the industry, there were deadlines and a time when papers were put to bed. We now have rolling deadlines, and with that, we have to manage the qualities that make a great football writer: ambitious, relentless drive, competitiveness, and maybe a little insecurity. That, measured with a rolling deadline, can only lead to burnout, can only lead to difficulties. And if we can help by taking, and to quote new modern manager Mauricio Pochettino, a holistic view of the Football Writers Association, in my reign, I'd like to be able to offer something back to our members to support them in this changing climate.
And just finally, how can you get involved? How can people, aspiring football journalists, get involved in the FWA?
This is really important, and I do want to make this so clear during my reign as chairman. The FWA is open to anyone that is passionate about football writing and has a body of work behind them, or is a student and wants to get involved in football writing and is pursuing football writing as a career. You can go onto our website, like www.footballwriters.co.uk, for all information. But we're welcoming students, we welcome football writers. It's important that you understand that we're here for you and we value your contribution.